I think I figured out the problem with the camera. The power cord was a little it wasn't as plugged in as possible. So I'm wondering if it lost some of the battery juice.
It wasn't in the hole as well.
It wasn't.
I wonder how you have two kids.
Jesus. Anywho, let's talk about Three Body Problem, Tone. This is a show that we wanted to talk about last week. I had to get caught up on stuff, but it's available now on Netflix. It comes from the showrunners of Game of Thrones, D.B. Weiss and
Dan Benoist or whatever.
Benioff or something like that. But dude, like this when this show was first when they first revealed the show, I was like, okay, this is a cool concept. It's sci-fi. It's something different from Game of Thrones. But with those two guys, I'm always kind of, I think I'm forever going to be scorned about what they did with Game of Thrones.
We all are.
And, but at the same time, I was like, okay, Netflix probably threw them a lot of money because they probably think they have a really good idea. And Netflix wouldn't be like, hey, look, we'll bring you on and give you a bunch of money. Even though everyone knows you fucked up Game of Thrones, Netflix is going to be like, we'll throw you this money because you probably have a really good idea. And this is based on 3 books that have been very well received. Like a lot of sci-fi people love these fucking books. And so watch the trailer for it. I was like, this looks pretty good. We watched the whole season, Tone. I want to get your initial thoughts, man, because like I think we're kind of on the same page. I think there's certain things that you liked a little bit more than I did. But overall, your thoughts on Three Body Problem.
I really enjoyed the series overall. I do feel like there's definitely some faults with it, some cons, and some questionable storytelling with parts of it, and not enough either with some. But really throughout most of the season, at least early on, it's a really interesting concept. You're kind of left guessing, trying to figure some things out,
which is good,
which is great.
Like, for a show.
Overall, I want to say like this series definitely gives a new flavor to something just generally, because we're out there doing remakes, we're out there doing stuff that's similar. This is something that at least feels a little bit different and kind of fresh and a little crisp, which I really appreciate. But as the series kind of goes on, you start to see like some of it kind of fray a little bit. Once you get past a couple of spots, which I agree, once you hit episode 5 of the series, it never really hits that like point. It should have been more like a plateau point, or something that would platform even higher.
Nope.
Or Slingshot. And it never really did. I felt like in some areas maybe there was some neat concepts and things they were doing, some of the characters. But there was also some head scratching moments like, well, that's fucking convenient. Oh, we're gonna kind of do that. You know what I mean? Like, but I almost feel like overall, because when you're working it out and you're trying to figure out what's going on, and they start to reveal what really is going on, who's really involved and connected, and why they're these people are trying to have humans in sense to try to figure out this problem. It almost feels like some of that was revealed too early, because then it takes away a little bit of the mysticism of it.
Yep.
And they never really get back to that point for it, because once they get past that point, it's almost like they kind of just put their foot on the gas and just go. And it's like, for all the build up and cool details and unique things that go through early on that you're questioning and wondering about and stuff like that, all that almost is like brushed to the side through the end of it.
Yes.
And it's like becomes a focal point of what they're trying to do next in that next step. And it takes over the rest of the series. And I feel like, I don't want to say it's not necessarily boring. It kind of loses that excitement in some way.
It does, yes.
I really liked, they have a sick friend. He plays an integral part about that. I like some of that concept's really cool. They start explaining some of the things that was happening and why it was, and start to figure out some stuff, which is fine. But like overall, again, the whole thought process to combat or meet this entity is just like, I get it. They're X amount of time away, and we're not that advanced, but like they're trying to figure out a 400-year problem in like 4 weeks. And like I'm like, I get it, but like we could have drawn that out better. Like I almost feel like they should have just drawn out some of what was going on, and then in hopefully season 2, which is where I think part of the problem comes in, because have they been renewed yet? Do we know?
I actually was going to look that up. Go ahead and continue.
Because like I feel like some of that was like, well, this is our one shot at a series. We'll leave a question mark at it, and it's kind of, some stuff's kind of tied off, some's not. because I feel like had they known for sure if they were getting multiple seasons, because under my impression, what I had read before, there hadn't been any renewal for sure. Some of the stuff could have been waited on. They could have worried about later because, like I said, they kind of rushed almost that last few episodes on some of those issues. It was really weird, like how all of a sudden they're like, man, we got this problem. Hundreds of years from now, we got to get this figured out now. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, can't we just like start the framework for that issue and, you know, every generation keep working on it? And it was just an interesting way to kind of lead that. So overall, I do feel like it's a series that people should watch because it's a very fresh, unique take on sci-fi. And like, I think for us both overall, it definitely just kind of didn't stick the landing as well as it could or should have because, you know, you were built up so strong on where it could be, which is ironic being the guys involved because they did that for 8 fucking years and then, you know, couldn't stick the fucking landing of Game of Thrones. And here we are with
right.
one season on Netflix, and it seems like they're doing fucking same thing again. But again, based on books that apparently people love, so like it has me kind of curious. Like, what are those kind of like? What does that kind of look like? You know, are those, you know, something as well? Maybe I should jump into and read. See, you got.
Benioff said, we don't have a second season yet, but we need to keep pushing forward full steam ahead as if we do. Because if we do get a second season, we'll need to hit the ground running in terms of pre-production and production to get it out to people in some kind of reasonable time. So as of March 24th, that was that interview. We don't have an actual second season confirmed yet. Now, this is based on a trilogy of books, and from my understanding, what I've read is that the first book is pretty much covered episodes 1 through 5. 1 through 5 basically covers everything that happens in the first book, which I can understand because episodes 1 through 5 is where I felt like this show was at its best.
Absolutely,
and I mean really, really good shit.
Yeah,
like really good television. And then episodes 6 and 8, from my understanding, and I didn't want to read too much into this stuff because I didn't want anything spoiled. It sounds like 6 and 8 contain a lot of ideals from books 2 and 3 to kind of like entice you, like, this is where we're headed with this. Like, this is the idea that we have. This is where the show could go. And then when the next seasons come, they'll dive into books 2 and then 3 in you know, properly to really kind of like build on it. My issue with that is, man, is like I said, episodes 1 through 5, this show was fucking awesome. Episode 5 was kind of reminding me of like the Red Wedding episode of Game of Thrones. I was just like, whoa.
Yeah, where you were jaw on the floor.
You have your big holy shit moment. You've got the holy shit reveal. It was just like, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
The stakes are fucked.
Now the stakes have been raised.
Yeah.
We understand now what the threat is and why we've been playing this VR game with all the characters and whatnot. Like, it was really effective. And then as soon as we get to 6, 7, and 8, it was just like Tone said, pedal to the metal. We're jumping and doing all this wild shit. Our response to the alien threat is like the staircase thing. And I was just like, what the fuck is going on right now? Like, I felt like we are just really just jumping to conclusion after conclusion after conclusion. And I know Britt says she loved Will. I liked Will until he turned into a bitch. Like, he was constantly a bitch about everything. And I was just like, dude, stop. I was so annoyed with Will. I liked Will early on, but the further we went along, I was like, okay, this guy needs to fucking stop, dude. Like, I get his situation, and that fucking sucks, but dude, stop. Okay, just make peace with your situation. Go out and do the things you need to do. Stop wasting fucking time.
It almost sounds like we're talking about Will Smith.
But then, like, other parts of the final 3 episodes, I mean, there's just like, again, very convenient Will's outcome. Again, I won't spoil it, but I was just like, okay, why is he chosen for this?
It makes sense now when you say that, though, because you're saying like book 1 through 5 or episodes 1 through 5 are one book, and then the last 3 are a combination of
ideas.
Right, which I want to point out is exactly the last 2 fucking episodes of season 8 of fucking Game of Thrones that they did, and it's not all their fault because George R. R. Martin is fucking lazy as fuck. But
Yeah.
it sounds like if they're given like enough material, they can keep good with the material going. When it's time for them to fucking like tie the knots and get some shit figured out,
Yeah.
they kind of drop the fucking ball.
Yeah. These guys aren't good at improv. Is basically what it is. These guys aren't good at improv.
In my head, I imagine them being like cat dog, like they're the two ends of each other. You know what I mean? Like at this point, like fucking get it right, man. Like, because that almost makes me mad because I was really invested in the series.
Yeah, I was really disappointed
especially
with
in
the
that
last
first
3
5.
episodes.
And the last 3 episodes, it's just like I kept thinking, I'm like, I am sick and tired of hearing about trying to throw something out in space for 400 years from now. Like, why are we rushing that?
Yeah.
Why would you not like come up with ideas because they're trying to say, well, we got to do this in time. We got to meet them halfway. No, you fucking don't.
Yeah.
You have 400 years to figure out the problem. And by that time, maybe you have like a pulsar or some sort of like engine that can actually do that and make up that time. Like, why are we saying that we only, it didn't make any sense, but now it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like I said, there's just some decisions that are made. There's some character arcs that I just felt like it was super rushed. Like you said, the mysticism, the mysterious nature of everything, the way episode 5 felt like the way you should have ended season 1. Like honestly, you probably could have expanded upon the stuff in the first 5 episodes.
Right, a book.
I mean,
but we didn't know they were not going to get another season.
but I mean, even then, if I go back and watch this series, and you ended on episode 5, you know what? I want to know what happens next season.
I'd be emailing Netflix nonstop.
Give me a second season, goddammit.
Yeah.
But instead they try to like throw all this shit together. I mean, honestly, man, when I was watching these episodes, I kept asking myself, like, what the fuck is going on right now? I'm like, the way we're jumping to all these decisions and rushing to these conclusions. And like, here's the thing. You want to know how annoyed I got with the show? I love Liam Cunningham.
Yeah.
I love him. I got annoyed with his fucking character in the last 3 episodes. I'm like, okay, this guy's a one-trick pony.
Yeah.
He does the same snide bullshit every time he's on screen.
Yeah.
I'm bored with him.
Yep.
I got bored with Will.
Yeah.
The girl right here, or at least you think she's the main.
Got bored with her.
She disappears in the last like 2 episodes.
Yeah, like what the fuck?
Like I was just like, wait a minute. She's like, honestly, man, I was so confused with just how these characters were like depicted in the last year. I was like, this just feels like season 8 of Game of Thrones.
You said it.
It just seems like a fucking mess. I was like, damn it. Had you just built upon things in episodes 1 through 5, made that 7 or 8 episodes, and ended on that fucking cliffhanger of 5, I would have been like, Netflix, I will burn down your fucking offices if you don't give me a season 2.
Yeah. No, exactly. So
it's a great idea. It's a great concept. I was hooked for 5 episodes. I'm still curious. I hope to fucking God they get their fucking renewal so they can actually slow things down again and be like, okay, we jumped the gun with the staircase thing. Fucking Will is, being used in some way. I'm still trying to figure out how exactly we're going to solve the issue with Will. Like, I really don't understand what the point of all that was for his character arc.
Well, that's the thing with it too. Like they're explaining for some of that stuff was also like really like loosey goosey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it just did. They didn't. They said they were going to do this. We need to do this. This is how we're going to do this.
Brady bitch, what's up, bud?
But they didn't do anything with it. Like in that instance, like they need to like say, well, the reason why we're doing it like this. Like I mean, they were saying because like, well, small capacity, we got to be able to move it. They were doing all this math stuff, but like. It didn't do enough layman terms as well too. So either way,
Britt says, I hope Saul comes more into play. I hope they fucking explain why Saul was so important at the end. That's another thing. When that whole thing happened, like I understood. I was like, okay, cool. I understand the mysterious nature of why Saul was chosen. But like everything leading up to that, like was he chosen because he's a fucking piece of shit?
Right.
Like I just didn't understand why Saul was chosen for his role going forward. It was just so fucking weird.
Convenient.
Felt
convenient at least. I mean, maybe in the book it's different. But
Brady Bitch says, what's up, fanboy?
What up?
Brady Bitch was our Mario Kart guy that showed up and started owning everybody. Well, I mean, he struggled. Struggled, but he did okay. Did good. When we do another community night, I expect him to be better on the track.
Right.
But no, I mean, like I said, I hope this show is good. I hope they get a second season, and I hope to fucking God They're able to slow things down and go back to the slow build, the mysticism, the mysterious nature of the Santi and what's going to happen when they show up. But for Christ's sakes, they're going to be here in 400 years. Slow down.
We can pump the brakes.
Let's slow down and figure out and explore things. And dude, if there's a time, I fully expect if this show is based on 3 books and the Santi aren't to show up for 400 years, I expect a time jump.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be a time jump at some point.
I thought there was going to be in the last 3 episodes.
Dude, you could have, honestly, after episode 5, you could have taken me into the future.
Yeah, I think so too.
You could have been like, hey, here's what Wade and Company said we got to look out for 100 years later. Now we're dude, the whole idea of a fucking alien race sending something back to our planet, a couple things, to sabotage our fucking scientists, our discovery of whatever, in order to fend them off when they hit, is a fucking awesome premise.
Neat concept.
That's an awesome concept, but Jesus, just the way, and I was just like, what the fuck, dude? Started off brilliant, ended in a rush. Unnecessary. I hope to God they get a second season, because if this shit ends after this, I'm going to be so fucking mad. Because they should have just fleshed out the first 5 episodes, the 8 episodes, ended on the cliffhanger, because you would have had me invested forever the way episode 5 ended.
Agreed. That's unfortunate, but
if you've watched 3 Body Problem, let us know in the comments below what you thought of it. If you've read the books, do you feel this first season does those books justice? Do you think people should still be excited? Or do you think they fucking dropped the ball before we even get a season 2 announcement? Let us know in the comments below. We want to hear from you.
Got an idea.